What's up?
Hey. Just
How are you?
adjusting the light a little bit. I'm great. I'm
That's
great,
it.
John.
Get it all set.
Get it all set. Thanks for having me today. Super
Ah,
excited to be here.
always great catching up with you. How's life?
It's excellent. So
That's our word.
um,
That might be our word for the day, right? Excellent.
that's the word for the day. Excellence, right?
Excellent.
No, I love it. I love it. Yeah, things are good. Summer's here. Kids, Drew's graduating from high school. He's socially graduating. He'll still be there till he's 22 because he has autism, as you all know. But he socially graduated, so we're having his graduation party on Saturday, and
Oh, that's so
things
cool.
are going well. And Abby's in her third year of college, so she's home for the summer, which means her dachshund is here. So you might see the dog jump across my
Bouncing
lap
around.
window, right? So
Uh, I love
yeah,
it. I love it.
things are good.
I see Ryan's running. That is fantastic.
Running. Yeah, Ryan is running. I'm so proud of him. He just launched his coaching business, RB Fitness. So you might
Mhm.
want to have him on your podcast soon.
I will
Uh,
definitely
Let him get into his groove a little bit, but he launched RB Fitness. He is precision nutrition. He's PN coach certified. So he went through that whole nutrition program, and he just started running again, and he's been working out. And I know a couple years ago when he was thinking of the coaching business, I was teasing him, and we were gonna call it broken body fitness because he's had like 4 knee surgeries, shoulder
Uh-huh.
replacements.
Uh-huh.
He's in his early 50s. So, for a lot of those people who think they can't do it, he's their guy. So yeah, I love it.
It is. It's pretty remarkable, what his body's been through, and then being able to get to that point. And then, I saw that he did the 5K at Shareholders,
Yeah.
and just I looked at his time and I was like, holy shit. Like he's like, I mean, to move at the pace that he was moving with, the trauma that he's had to his body. I mean, it says a lot. To me, it says a lot about, the mental side of things. And I know, he's pushed himself and really, I know last year was kind of the year of him and focusing on, health and, that equity bucket of our life and getting that really dialed in. And you can start to see how that spills over into everything else that he's doing and what he's committed to. And so it really is remarkable.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So
Yeah.
what's going on with you?
Yeah. So for me, RevShare Group's growing. So growing EXP, I'm very, into that. I love my agents. I love supporting them, helping them stay in production and just win at life, especially in a tight market. I don't care what state you're in, inventory is still tight. Then you got these crazy people that still want, X amount for their house in some markets. But for most part, I'm still talking to agents and it's tight inventory,
Right.
So just realizing that that's a huge opportunity and that we can flip the switch and flip our mindset to realize that your business doesn't have to be down. It could actually be more in this market than the market we had last year. So
Right.
I'm just helping agents realize that,
What are you, so that's a great point right there. And I think it all has to kind of start with the mindset and the approach. So for you talking with agents all over the country, I mean, is that the biggest challenge that you see is their mindset, their belief, their like what's going on there?
Yeah. So, I mean, and one of my coaches gave us these stats. So I didn't look them up, but you can look them up if you want to. And it was, let me go to that page just so I can find it. Cause it was so good. And it gives such a clear picture of, that it's not just, oh, have a good mindset about it, change your mind. It's actually factual information about how, we have a better opportunity in this market. And it was something like 7.6 million transactions or something in real estate in the country were shared by 1.6 million agents. And that was in 2005 in an amazing market, right? So you got 7.6 to 1 or 7.3 to 1.6, right? And you divide that out and it's like, came out to like 4.4 transactions an agent, right? Not a big deal. But that was like one of the best markets we were in. And
Right.
then in the crash in 2010, there was 897,000 agents for 5.5 million. And that kind of came out, I think it was like seven something transactions, right? So as agents are leaving the market, if you're still here and you've changed the mindset that you're going to win in this market and take advantage of it, now you have a playing field, whereas before you had a chance at 4.4, now you got a chance of 7. And then my coach said, but think about out of the 897,000 agents that were still licensed in 2010, how many of them were licensed but like mentally checked out?
Oh yeah.
So now you're down to like 500,000, right?
Right.
And so whether you're an agent getting in the business or you're an agent that's been in the business, a down market that has tighter inventory and less sales, you actually have a better opportunity because agents are leaving the market at such a rapid pace that having the mindset that I'm going to win in this market is totally different than it's okay that I'm behind because the market's slow, right?
Right. So, I mean, it's easy to say, hey, I'm going to, change your mindset, but like, what's kind of the process to kind of go through to do that? I mean, I think, not everybody, I think there's a logical side to it, but obviously, the emotional piece first, and then you can say, okay, well, how many transactions are going to happen? How many home sales are going to happen? How many really like licensed agents that are actually going to do the work and divide that, like you said, how many opportunities is really out there. But we can sit here and talk about it all day. Hey, change your mindset. But what's the how-to to go around that?
So I think number one, just going back to those numbers and saying, okay, so there is a possibility for me. It's available. Because I think there's some agents that think it's just not available, first of all. So I think just admitting that it's available and it's possible. So I think just knowing that there's possibility there. But the second thing is it's possible for those who are committed to increasing their skill set and learning how to sell in this market. Right? So not only do I have to admit that it's possible, I have to believe and have the confidence that I have the skill set, knowledge to make those things happen. I mean, a great example would be right now, there's so many agents that have been in the market less than 5 years that have sellers who can't close on their next home until they sell the home that they're in. But they're like, John, I'm not putting my house on the market because it'll sell in a day and then I'll have nowhere to go. Right. And so what we have is, I feel like we have a lot of pent up inventory, which is caused because of agents not having the proper skill set. They're not equipped with what to say and how to get those homes moving in this market. Same thing with buyers. I think there's a lot of buyers that are thinking interest rates are going to come down. They're going to wait it out. And so there's a lot of, I think, pent up transactions that agents could have if they increase their skill set too. So I think it's knowing the possibility and then having the confidence that you gained the training and skill set that you need to go do what needs to happen in this market.
And is the skill set more of what to say or the process to take people through, or like, I mean, is it all of the above? Like where should, because I'm with you 100%. I think one of, there's a couple voids in the industry right now. One, obviously being leadership, two being two really being the skill set required to sell, like sell skills, sell just basic sales skills, I think is lacking. But, as it translates into the real estate space, is that on the front end? Is it when you're actually working with somebody? Like where does that, what's the, if they were to start, say, because I mean, where do I start? Like where would that be?
Right. Well, I would say that whatever form of lead generation that you're doing that has been working for you, right? And we'll just leave new agents out of it for a second. But if you've been in the business a couple years, you've had sales under your belt, you feel like your business is coming to a screeching halt, let's look back at what has worked for us and go back and say, okay, how can I make sure that this form of lead generation that I already know works, how can I make sure that I'm doing that at a 10 out of 10? So for example, if You're purchasing Zillow leads. I'll take something completely opposite of what I would do, right? Just to use it as an example. If you're purchasing Zillow leads, could you talk to your Zillow rep and find out, are there agents dropping out in other zip codes that maybe I didn't want a few years ago? And I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to perfect my follow-up system. I'm going to time block more time. I'm going to put more time, energy, and effort into making sure that I am a 10 out of 10 on my investment in Zillow. And I'm going to make sure that I do follow-ups better than no one else in the industry, right? And you go all in on that. Are you going to increase your business? Yes.
Yeah.
Open houses, same thing. Yes. Your Sphere database, same thing. Yes. So you want to look back at what has worked for you the past 2 to 3 years. And I think just increasing your skill set and your plan in that form of lead gen. It's not that that form of lead gen isn't going to work anymore. You're going to modify that to what messaging needs to come out of my mouth, sales skills, in order to get them to buy. And how do I get in a conversation with more of those people?
What are you agree 100%? Where are you seeing, like, in the, I mean, you rattled off a few different sources or strategies. Like, where are you seeing, hey, you got to be playing here to survive kind of in this market moving forward?
You know what? I personally, as a coach, think it's different for everybody.
Mhm.
I truly believe surviving 2008, 2009, and 2010, doubling my business each year. What worked for me, being who I am, was everybody in the community knew that I was a real estate agent. And even though they had a house that was, our market's a little different, even though they had a house that they owed 170 on, and they knew they couldn't sell it for more than 150, they would call me and say, Jacqui, we want to move, but we don't even know if we can. We don't even know if you can help us. To be able to have relationships with people to where they can be vulnerable with you and ask you for help in a market that's tough, I think is what played well for me, right? So I think whatever market you're in, making sure that we can solve the problems that buyers and sellers are having right now, right? And so asking yourself, what are the problems buyers and sellers are having that contact me on Zillow? Well,
Right.
most of them are buyers that are, personally, they're never going to get the house if they don't have an aggressive buyer's agent who knows how to win the offer.
Right.
Right. So I have to make them feel like they need me for everything. So it just depends on, I think, what's in alignment with who you are and whatever that form of lead gen is. But I can't really say, oh, the people that are calling for sale by owners are just knocking it out of the park compared to the people that are investing in Zillow. I think whatever you do, if you experiment with it long enough and you get to a 10 out of 10, you're going to win in this market. Hands down, I don't think there's anything not working.
Right. Do you, I mean, and I think you said something I want to emphasize. Do you believe that it really starts with knowing your strengths, knowing what you're really comfortable with, what you're really good at, and going there? So, like, somebody that maybe is not fond of nurturing and deepening relationships,
Right.
maybe is better off cold calling, that's not afraid to talk to a stranger, that actually prefers to talk to a stranger, cold calling, door knocking, open houses. So, like, is it find what you're the best in the world at first and then lean in there?
Yes, exactly. Right on. And I used this example on stage a couple of weeks ago at shareholders that, and I don't care if you're talking about recruiting or you're talking about selling homes, but we'll keep it to selling homes for this conversation. If you line 10 agents up on a stage and you can modify this number for your goals or your market, right? Let's just say your goal is $500,000 a year net. You want to bring home 500,000 to your family. If there's 10 agents on a stage that bring home net 500,000, the interesting thing about the 10 is 6 of them will have teams, 4 of them won't.
Right.
7 of them do open houses. 3 of them think it's a waste of time.
Right.
5 of them call for sale by owners. 5 of them don't. 3 of them don't even know how to log into their website, right? I mean, I could go on and on and on. The fact is that they all win differently. And I think the big myth is that we have to do everything to win. And here's the cool part is that all 10 of them have a plan. They have clarity and they know exactly how they're going to do it, and they're going to stay in their lane. The 3 that don't do open houses and think they're a waste of time, they're not walking around feeling guilty like there's all this business they're missing out on, because they're the ones that are cold calling, right? Or whatever it is, right? And they're doing that at a 10 out of 10 and they're meeting their goals. I think a lot of us just have to get the clarity of what our lane is and who we are so that we can rise to the top of that category. But I mean, those people, if you have 10 people making 500 grand a year and they're meeting their financial goals, they're netting 500, because I'm all about the net. I don't care about your units, your volume. I don't care how many people you got on a billboard. Like, none of that matters, really. It's all about what you're netting.
Right.
And they're all going to do it differently, and they're not going to feel guilty for the forms of lead gen that they're not participating in.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I think you want, a few stable pillars that work well for you. And I think too, it also kind of market specific a little bit too. You got to take into some consideration. I always revert back to, Lawton, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, like, we scoured to do geographical neighborhood, and we ended up going with one just because Kinder lived there. Yeah, it was a little bit higher price point, but it was like, you start to look, and it's like, yeah, but I don't know if I would do open houses there. You just start to kind of look and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. But I think, first thing is being clear on, what comes natural to you, right? Certain people, resist picking up the phone, although everything that they do has to lead to a conversation. They would rather talk to somebody, face to face or not. Maybe they're great on camera. Maybe they love creating content, with really great call to action. And so there's just so many different ways, but I think you're spot on. It all starts with clarity. I mean, that's really where it all starts. It starts with clarity, and then, really customizing the plan based to your strengths and hedging the bet against your weaknesses. And then what are the activities, as that we have to do daily within our control, to capture those wins, to build that confidence, to continue to progress and move forward. So, Jacqui, with, I know in your main focus is, collecting agents, increasing headcount.
Mm-hmm.
With the agents in the space right now, I mean, are you seeing a lot of agents out there that are lost, that don't have that clarity? Like, what's the biggest challenge for a majority of the real estate agents out there right now?
Yeah, I think they're looking, I think there's so many agents that are looking for these quick answers. They're looking for a system to do it for them, and I understand that there is AI, there's all this stuff, right? Like, let's have everybody else do this for me. But human beings actually make decisions on emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And until we can make a for sale by owner feel like they need me and that they're going to make more money and I'm going to solve their problem easier than them doing it on their own, I've lost. Until they get to that point, I'm going to not have them. And so the question is can we have that for sale by owner get those feelings through our video content? Maybe, right? Like, if you've got a whole 10-part series for sale by owners on how to help them, and then they gain confidence in you and believe in you, they might convert over through video. That might work. But, just setting people up on drip campaigns and all of those things is a means and a way to getting an appointment with people. And I just think there's a lot of agents who are forgetting that, or they don't understand that it's actually having conversations with people. We can use all these different systems, and we can buy leads on Zillow to help us get a lead, which is to get us an appointment. Yeah. Like, we would never tell a Zillow lead, I'm sorry, that house is already under contract. I would never say that. I would get the appointment and say, oh my gosh, that's a great house. It looks like it's priced in a great neighborhood. Let me look that up for you. When would you like to see it? Oh, you'd like to see it Thursday night? Fantastic. Let me go ahead. I'm going to research that. I'm going to try to set us up for Thursday night and I'll get back to you. I'm setting the appointment.
Yeah.
And then already knowing that house is not available, I'm going to try to find something else I can show them and get them to meet me face to face. I'm not letting that lead go. And that's what I'm talking about, going at
Skills.
a 10 out of 10 on your stuff, because are we really going all in?
Right.
Or are we just like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of lunch. Oh my gosh, Zillow's calling. I'm going to get it. Yeah, I'm sorry. That one's already sold. Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can help you find? And they're like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah. And, you know, too, I think it also, you know, that's the competency, right? That, you know, can the other person on the other side of the conversation, do they believe you're competent enough to help them achieve what it is they're trying to achieve? And that's obviously where the trust factor comes in. And, you know, getting back to, you know, even Belfort's, you know, sharp as a tack, you know, enthusiastic, and really kind of that, you know, a force to be reckoned with, that, you know, authority. Like you're leading the conversation, you're asking the questions. Hey, is this the only house you're looking for? You're looking for other homes in the area? You know, just being able to get that conversation inquisitive, like you said, set the appointment, gather as much information. But I think that also comes back down to what we said, is there's just a void of capabilities and skills, just because of what the last few years, and right, this is so crazy. And you know, we talk about this all the time, is, you know, the circumstance and environment dictates and drives everything.
Sure.
And so you think about the circumstance and the conditions of the market, and it was forcing you to be reactive. It was forcing you to multitask at a rapid at a rapid pace. And so that, you know, ultimately forced some bad behavior, right? Some bad habits were formed based upon that circumstance. So I believe understanding circumstances have changed, so behavior has to change.
Right. And I don't think we had to ask ourselves, what else could I do to maximize this form of lead gen? Right. Because it's like, well, we've done this for 2 years and it worked, and now it just dried up.
Yeah.
Instead of, okay, this worked for 2 years. If that same form of lead gen is still going to exist for the next 2 years, but it's changed, what skill sets would I need to increase? Or do I need to increase my area? Do I need to increase to doing open houses Saturday and Sunday? Right? Like there's a way to level up exactly what you're doing, right? And figure out a way to make it happen in a tighter market and actually gain that market share from the people that are leaving the market. I'm seeing agents do that every day, because I'm surrounded by the agents in our group who are doing it. So that's why I just know it works, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it really is interesting to see. And sometimes it's the thing, especially with agents, and it's that whole, right, like if you have your hands in front of you, you can't see kind of what's around you, and so you have to kind of zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see the full picture. And yeah, it's just just not knowing what they don't know. And I think that's where the importance of, you know, the environment, who you're surrounding with, who you're connecting with, the conversations you're having, being around in that type of environment is so key. And especially newer agents, or even agents that I think maybe a little seasoned. And so I think I mean, that's the importance, I think, of either great coaching, or getting into an environment or a team structure, a team environment, to where you can hone those skills while you're not trying to juggle all of the things. And is it attention? Is that the biggest constraint? Is the constraint is like, where do I give my attention? Where do I give my focus?
say that another way. I'm thinking I'm thinking constraint of getting deals, or I mean, it would be where, you know, if people are meeting with people and they have people around them, like as potential clients, and they're not getting sales because people are stuck, it's like, well, do they even know that they have the means to solve their problem?
Right.
Because they
Right.
might not believe that they do. And like we're saying, you do, you just have to make sure that you're in an environment where you have people that have been through a shifted market before, have been through a tougher market, that can help, have a conversation at the table at the listing about price reductions in the future. I mean, if you've never had to have that conversation at the listing table because you're afraid to have it, you got to make sure that you have it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things that have never been done before with a lot of our agents who are amazing producing agents. And I think it's just thinking, do I really know everything that I think I know? And is there a way that I could get a little bit more training on how to get sellers to behave in a way that benefit them and benefit the market, right?
Right. So for you taking, kind of that leadership role, either, for those, building a team, building an organization, I mean, where are you the most valuable? How are you having those conversations, right? To help agents, because so back to my question with the constraint being around attention, I think that is the biggest constraint that agents, that people, that humans face, right? Because everything is vying for our attention. And
Sure.
and the ability to focus is becoming a superpower, right?
Right.
And it really takes certain activities and things to build that focus muscle. And so I think the constraint is just, where do I give my attention? So for you as a leader, building a team, building an organization, how do you lead those conversations to help those agents kind of
Get what they need.
get what they need, because they don't even know what they need, some of them, right? So how do
Right.
you help them with that?
So we actually copied this from Brian White and Elizabeth Riley, and now there's a whole group of people doing it within our company, and it's called Agents Helping Agents. And so we do an Agents Helping Agents once a month, and I construct the questions that we're going to talk about, and I interview different agents within our group to share with us their secrets of like, hey, right now it's really, really tough in the market. And I'll just choose 3 top agents that I know are doing transactions, that I know are winning deals for their buyers. And I'll say, hey, John, in the past 90 days, tell me some things that you can share with our agents, things that worked for you that helped you win in a multiple offer where there was at least 3 offers or more and you won. What do you think made you win? And I'm going to prepare them for these questions ahead of time. But I'm going to do it in a panel session, and it's, 30 to 45 minutes. The other day I did one and I actually just ran the whole thing. But I made sure that I had agents planted in the audience that had production that were going to chime in and say what they did.
Yeah.
Right. Because agents need to hear from other agents, and sometimes they don't need to hear from me because it's like, well, she doesn't sell right now. She's just coaching. She doesn't really know what we're going through, kind of a
And that's
thing.
just so not true. But
I lived through 2009. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
With single mom, 2 kids, 2009, 10, doubled my business. I'm pretty sure I know a little bit.
It's all principle driven, but they don't get that. Anyways, yes.
It just looks different, but it's okay. But I mean, I love to hear, but I also like to elevate the agents that are doing it, and giving them a platform to lead has really, really helped. I don't want it to be the Jacqui Bowman show. I want it to be the agents helping agents, because when they hear from people in their group, subconsciously as a leader, this really helps me, because when someone has a question or is now up against 17 offers, they're like, oh my gosh, John said something in that meeting. I'm going to text him really quick and see if he can give me the verbiage he used so that I can win this offer.
Yeah.
They're not calling me now, which is great. Right. So I think that's what has helped the most. But just like you said, it's getting them there. It's getting them to come to the meetings. And it's like,
how do we get them there? How do you get them there? I think that's starting to see, and maybe it's event fatigue. Maybe it's something.
I think there's a lot of event fatigue going on for sure. Summer's now here. Everybody wants to sit with a margarita and get some sun rays, which I do too. I'm not going to lie. But I think that's hard. And I wish I had the answer to that, but full transparency, I don't. I mean, I send the emails, I send the personal texts. I mean, I use the Reach app. I send out
Yeah.
220 texts personally from my phone for a meeting, and we'll get 25 people there.
Right.
Like, so I think as leaders, we all have those same issues, but I just take comfort in the fact that the agents who are hungry and the agents who are committed, they're raising their hand and showing up to absolutely everything they can to increase their skill set and get the business that and stay in the mindset they want to stay in. It's the agents that I don't see for a while. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm having a breakdown. I need to talk to you today. Right. And it's like, well, where you been?
Yeah.
You know, kind of a thing. And I don't want to make them feel guilty, but the best advice for agents would be figure out what is being offered. And as a leader, I would say, be specific on what you're going to discuss. I said, come to our Agents Helping Agents meeting. We're going to find out how to loosen up this tight market and get our inventory moving. Sellers who can't buy, buyers who won't make offers, right? Or how to win out, you know, and I gave them a clue about what we were going to talk about so that when people glance, it's not just a blank, hey, we're having a sales meeting, right? Or we're having a whatever. We're having
you gotta be really
a
detailed.
mastermind, right?
Yeah.
But definitely give them a little detail on it. But I mean, if you have a seller that's not going to list because it's contingent on their home and you don't know how to make that inventory move, you should probably come to the meeting, right?
Right.
So
No, it's great. I think it's a great point. I think giving, it goes back to, there's so many choices, there's so much noise out there. You know, how do you give the details so the people that are looking for that solution see that, and they're like, okay,
Right.
this is what I need right now. I think, you know, you said, you know, constantly staying hungry, being a constant learner, continuing to just the whole learn like you're going to live forever. And I think that has to be kind of value driven. I was having a great conversation with an agent, and we were going through her core values and going through her uniques, and she was kind of talking through situations that she was having, and the thing was everything ties back to that, right? Everything ties back to a teachable moment with one of the values. And it's like, even like what you're saying with an agent, it's like, you know, you've got to be hungry, right? You've got to have that the humbleness that you don't know it all, and you've got to learn and continue to figure it out. And I think that was one of the things that I saw a lot of agents lose sight of as well, losing sight of the vision, which we know part of the vision is part of the values, and getting back to tying everything to value driven, and making sure that you're making decisions for your life and your business based upon those values.
yeah, and it brings up a good point. I just remember the first time I came to the kitchen table and I entered a room with people that were doing way more than me, were knocking it out of the park and things. And even when I think having a healthy ego and having confidence is great. And looking at yourself and saying, you know, I'm successful. I can fund my dreams. I can pay my bills. And I just learned in one day 15 things that I didn't know. And this was freaking amazing. Right. And so I think looking for those rooms to where you're kind of feeling like, hey, maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I'm the one at the lowest income here, or I'm the, you know, whatever. That's the room you need to be in. And I loved your analogy with there's always a back door. Like there's always a back door to get into a room if you want to be in that room, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, I knew that was going to ring right on the computer there. But yeah, so I think it's just getting in those rooms and not being distracted by the next shiny object that's exciting that everybody's going to, and there's going to be a happy hour beforehand. I mean, there's so many things that we can go to, but if you're behind goal and you're behind financially, figure out what's actually going to be effective for you and get yourself in rooms to where people can lift you up to where you want to go.
That's right.
Because it's easy to go into a room and be the one that everybody's looking up to, because that feeds our ego, right? And I just think whether we've been an agent for 10 weeks or 10 years, make sure we're getting in the right rooms and we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, like we don't belong there, because that's what's going to help us stretch and grow.
Yeah. I think too, being intentional when you get into those rooms, and knowing, maybe you don't know, maybe it is clarity, but I think going in, what is my biggest challenge? What questions should I be asking, and who should I be, looking for and listening for to help me, right? Because, gone to so many events and be like, man, why am I going? Right. And then, you kind of reflect and like, man, these are my biggest challenges. If I can get a little distinction or get a little support or a connection or a little help here, that could be the hinge that swings the big door. And so I think, being, not only getting in those rooms, but being intentional, getting into those rooms. And I believe you can get into any room as long as you're coming in and knowing intentionally what it is you're trying to solve. And even if you're the most seasoned agent, even getting into a room of a bunch of newer agents, you're going to see a different vantage point. You're going to see a different perspective. It's like what we always talk about is like, it's every seat on the bus has a different perspective, has a different vantage point, has a different angle. And just because you used to do that function, maybe you did it all, right? You processed your files, you did the TC, contract to close, you did all of that. But now maybe you have somebody doing that for you. You still have to value their vantage point because they're seeing things a little different than how you see them today. So that's why I always say it doesn't matter what size of business you're at. You could be doing 4 or 5 million in revenue, and you get into a room full of agents, new agents that maybe be on a team that are doing, 200,000-300,000. You're going to learn something from them if you have a learner mindset. You're going to learn their perspective, what they value, what's working, what's trending, like just
what they've created in this. Yeah, what they've created in this market that you've never heard of.
Right.
Because you're busy up here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I always say, you always want to get in the rooms that scare you, but also, don't be afraid to get into the rooms that you feel like, the second, I think the second you believe that you have nothing to learn is the second that you're, almost
Right.
checkmate for whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right. I love it.
Love it. How's Puerto Rico?
It's good.
When's the last time you guys were there?
Well, Ryan came home in March, so we're hoping to stay there for a couple of months this winter. Again, in Ohio, January through March is terrible. I did a women's retreat there in April, so that was nice. But we'll be back there in July after build. So
I love it. I love it.
We'll be there for a week. But yeah, we've got a lot of family and friends staying there, and they're enjoying it every week, and it's profitable now, so it's good.
It's really good.
That's good. Yeah, right,
It's
right.
really good. It's really
so
good.
so things are good. Things are really
Awesome.
good. So
yeah. Jacqui, you're amazing. I love always connecting and catching up, and definitely a wealth of information and knowledge and support and guidance and leadership, and just really cool what you're doing. Really cool what's Ryan's doing, and I know you guys are pushing each other every day to be better. So it's awesome.
Yeah, the goal is to be the best version of yourself and who God made you to be. So go get them.
I love it. Awesome.
Right.
Appreciate you. See you soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.